Reach ambitious marketing goals by managing these obstacles. This is my online toolbox providing weekly quick tips and reminders in all facets of marketing. And here we are, we're wrapping up the year. We're getting everybody pumped up to start the new year with a fresh approach. And what we wanted to do was remind people that we like to shoot for the stars. We are ambitious with our marketing goals. We're not necessarily focused in on whether those goals are going to be 3 months out, 6 months out, 1 year, 2 years, or upwards of even 5 years. But there are a set of obstacles that many people in the beginning all seem to have a challenge with, and we want to help you get motivated to go over these obstacles. First, rethink your relationships with your ideal customers. And what we mean by that is take a moment and just reflect. We all have the perfect set of circumstances with certain types of relationships we have with certain customers. There are others that are good relationships, they're just not ideal. And then there's others that you take on for one reason or another that you really never would have wanted to take on to be under the umbrella of ideal, but they were a customer. And then, of course, they're the ones that you took on that you really wish you went back in time and tried to not repeat going forward. So try to think what represents your ideal customer. Sometimes it's financial size. Sometimes it's based on location. Sometimes it's based on another set of intangible topics. But just take a moment to think. If you were able to replicate your ideal customer, what would it be? And just create that vision. Now, rethink your relationships with your ideal prospects. When you're meeting those new people who may or may not fall under the umbrella of an ideal customer, what is it that you thought about after the fact that you wish you would have thought about up front? Because you have to bring that to your front of your mind in being able to help qualify that on an ongoing basis. And that's the same thing with projects. What type of projects are your best? We're not saying that there's a bunch of projects that you can do, but what we want you to do is start helping yourself create a vision of when you're promoting yourself. What are you promoting? Are you promoting everything you're capable of doing? Or are you promoting the things that you prefer to be doing that make you the most amount of money with your ideal circumstances? And rethinking relationships with circumstances happens to be the next topic. What we mean by that is, in this particular case, we have a lot of uncertainties, but then again, every single year there's always uncertainty. But right now, there are a tremendous number of variables that are impacting the expectations of future customers. And it always begins with when. That seems to be the biggest premise, on top of then, of course, the cost. But because the when is driving expectations of whatever may be the next thing you discuss in your proposals and your deliverables, you want to make sure that the expectations are managed up front, because you're not going to change anything. It's how you deal with those expectations up front, which will help you allow you to attract a better prospect, which will eventually convert into a better customer while dealing with these expectations. Last but not least is rethinking your relationships with time. It's ridiculous how many people will say over and over again, if I had more time. Well, get over it. You're not. Neither am I. Neither is anybody else you deal with. So what you want to do is remember that when something is important to you, such as if I interrupted this broadcast and immediately you were interrupted, excuse me, and someone said, somebody you know is in the hospital for whatever the reason may be, and they were somebody important to you, you could bet you would stop listening to this broadcast and then run all over to the hospital and go check in on somebody you care or love about. And the reality is you made the time for something that you cared about. So what you need to do is take a step back and re-examine your priorities. You must be able to carve out time for things that are important to you, and you must start learning how to get rid of the things that are not important to you. And you have to realize that the sooner you realize there is no extra time for anybody, it's just that the people that are super successful have learned how to master their time and how to set aside time for whatever it is that it's important to them, including your marketing. If you just treat this passively and simply say I'll fit it in December once a year for 15 minutes after my online toolbox motivates me, it will give you like just throwing some salt on a piece of food, but you don't even know if it's cooked or not. You need to take a step back and make time. We're not saying a lot of time. We're just saying a certain small amount of time on a consistent basis, which is what all of our clients have been doing year after year after year, which is why they're so successful. So take a moment and just think about time. And when marketing, especially if you want to be ambitious, is on your mind and you want to change your destiny, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years out, you have to slice up some time and be dedicated towards the marketing given that moment and don't get interrupted. And then you have to think about the relationship with yourself. We want you to rethink about your own beliefs, which usually can easily help you or stop you from reaching your goals. Don't limit your view on your own capabilities because, especially with marketing, this is not hard. If you were up against me or other marketing gurus, for lack of a better word, yes, then it would be extremely hard. But the reality is, you're in the construction industry, and the construction industry is notorious for not planning in general, let alone planning 6 months, 1 year, and 2 years out. And that right there is your advantage. To simply acknowledge it that your peers, who may even be better than you at what they do in construction, but they usually are very restrictive on how they view marketing and utilize that as an advantage. So what we're saying is, I'm not saying it is super easy, but neither was using your first smartphone with all the different little buttons over there, and then you became accustomed to how to use your phone over a period of time. The same thing with marketing. We will guide you through step by step on how to take an approach and how to get better, or even if you're working with another marketing firm, the same thing. But the challenge that we all have is having you take a moment and focusing your time to being able to capitalize on these opportunities over an extended period of time. And we want you to realize that this speed bump here that you're seeing in a parking lot, it could easily go away. Again, it's your attitude towards the topic of marketing and seeing a destination of where you want to go. And never forget that your marketing will help you get to your destination. So let's reduce the obstacles to turning the key and getting started. This is my online toolbox, wishing you a very healthy holiday season. Please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, and never forget to start planning yesterday for next year's marketing and profits. Have a healthy week, and we'll see you next week.